And we have turned. Welcome back to the stream, everybody. That right there was It's in Our Nature off of the Slay the Princess soundtrack by Brandon Boone, I believe. Yes, Brandon Boone is the person who did that. And It's in Our Nature is the one that plays when you're dealing with witch, specifically. Or at least that played when I was dealing with the witch, because I think there's a couple of different scenarios. Why did I play that one? I don't know, just felt like it. I've been thinking a lot about that game, because I love that game. Anywho, I originally kind of wasn't actually planning on streaming tonight, but I decided, hey, why not? I'm probably just going to end up, well, I was probably just going to end up playing Kenshi anyway, because I've been playing a lot of that lately, so I figured why not stream it. And of course, because this is a lovely idea, I'm not even going to carry on with one of the 3 saves I've already got going with that. I was like, let's start a new one. Why not? We're going to start a new one because I have a specific thing in mind I'd like to do. Now, before I do, though, I'm not going to have a whole lot of a preamble because, again, I'm just doing this simply because I felt like playing Kenshi. But I feel like I would be remiss if I did not do a little bit of a show and tell of some of the things that I found recently. Because, as I said last time, I was out of town for a bit. I went back home and I rummaged around some of the stuff that was out there, and I found some new things to bring in. You know, much like a while ago, I showed off some of the older games I found that I still haven't really set up to play or stream, but eventually we'll get to these things. Again, it's mostly PlayStation stuff this time, though I did find some other things. One, which I'm interested to get back to at some point because I know I did not do very well the first time I tried to play it, and that's just because I couldn't wrap my head around it, and that is the original Grand Theft Auto for the PlayStation. This plays very differently than the series from 3 on. So if you're not familiar with the series prior to that point, and let's be real, we're getting to the point now that most people's experience with Grand Theft Auto is 5 and only 5. Because that game came out 12 years ago? 12 years ago. So there's that. Everything else is PS2. Found Dragon Quest VIII, which there's a sticker on here. Apparently we got this at Walmart for $58.83 back when this was first released. So, you know, there's that. The interesting thing I found about this is there's actually a demo disc in here for Final Fantasy XII. Remember when demo discs were a thing? Now, I didn't bring it in with me, but we also had a copy of Final Fantasy XII out there. But I'm kind of curious. I might even check that out at some point. Because I know sometimes the demo discs were different than anything you could find in the games proper. But I think that was not the case with this. I think this was just a chunk of the game that you could play through. I know, I think Final Fantasy VIII did that. Next up is Ys, the Ark of Topishtim. I think that's how you pronounce that. The Ys series is one that's been around for a long time. I have another one, the 3rd game in the series, I think, back there for the Super Nintendo. I can't remember which game in the series this is. So there's that. But I remember this actually being fairly good. So this is more of an action RPG kind of thing. Well, the Ys series always has been. I need to look it up, but I think there was a new game in this series released a few years ago. Can't remember. And then these I'll blow through pretty quick, but there's another 4 games here, but they're all part of a series. So we have Dot Hack. It's going to be really hard to show the there we go. Dot Hack Infection. Dot Hack Mutation. Dot Hack Outbreak, and Dot Hack Quarantine. It occurs to me that after 2020, a lot of these titles are very jarring, but in talking to people about these games, when I realized that I could find them, a good many people don't actually remember this series, and I suppose that's fair, because honestly, there was a sequel series called Dot Hack GU. There were 3 games in that were also all released on the PS2. Wow. That's like, okay, so that's 7 games released for one system. God, remember when that was a thing that happened, that you got multiple games from a single series in one console generation? Yeah, remember those days? But yeah, people don't really remember that series anymore from what I've seen. And I'm not going to talk about it too much now, because again, I don't have that much time to stream, and I strictly just want to play some Kenshi. But it was a very interesting series that dealt with some concepts that other things picked up afterwards, I believe, because I think this was the first one to do it. Basically, the general idea is an MMO that starts bleeding into the real world kind of thing. And it was also a multimedia thing, because you might notice that every one of these has this little thing on the bottom here. You can't really pick it out due to the light. But basically it says that there's a DVD included with these. And yes, each one of these has, I think, a small, like, 45-minute film that ties into the events of the game. Because the game takes place within the game world, and then the movie takes place within the real. It's a very odd series from what I remember, so I'm kind of excited to get back into that whenever the hell I get the chance to do that. Because of course we're just going to play some more Kenshi right now. And when I actually do stream again. When I do actually stream again next time, which is probably going to be tomorrow, hopefully. Knock on wood. I'm going to probably do some things that I actually stand a chance of finishing, so I might get back to some stuff I'd started but hadn't got to. And there is a new thing I'd like to try, but it's not something as absurd as, you know, Kenshi or Zomboid, a game I can actually finish. Hello, Rolls. Welcome back to the stream. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Only on for a few, but you heard 2020 and quarantine, and your heart skipped a beat. No, I was just talking about these PS2 games I found. And it's a series of 4 games, and it does have that kind of terminology for their subtitles. So the final game in the series is called Quarantine. And aside from Quarantine, you have Outbreak, Mutation, and Infection. So, you know, you can see the vibe they were going for. Okay, before I actually carry on, I'm curious. I need to look up when the games were released. I could scour around for a copyright notice on the games themselves, and I'm just going to look up a list here. Let's see. Okay, so... Okay, yeah, so the first game... Well, they actually were all released within the span of a couple of years from each other, it seems. And there's also one called Fragment that was never released outside Japan. Okay, so Infection was released... I'll go with the initial release date, in Japan. Let's see. So the first one was released in Japan June 20th of 2002. The second one was released in Japan September 19th, my birthday, 2002. The third was released December 12th, 2002, and the fourth was released April 10th, 2003. So these 4 games were all released in less than a year. So, let's see, June, July, August, September. So that was 3 months. October, November, December. January, February, March, April. So the 4 games were released in the span of 10 months. I did not realize that. Wow. Madness. Oh, okay. You have to go to the airport. I bet you that's going to be a fun and harrowing experience. But hopefully you have an easy time of it. And we shall see you in an hour or so if I'm still here. I'm probably going to be streaming for about an hour and a half or so, but we'll see. Anyway, I didn't mean to ramble on about those games as much as I did. I might go more in depth about that and the other stuff I may have found while I was out home. But for now, let's actually switch over to yonder thing and play some Kenshi. Now, the smart thing would be to... Forgive me, I need to yawn. Okay. The smart thing would be, well, the smart thing would actually be to carry on with a game I started streaming ages ago and need to finish. There are a few of those that I have not done yet. If I was playing Kenshi, the smart thing to do would be to carry on with one of the games I've already started, but no, I am going to be a fool and begin another, which would make 4 different games I have running at the same time in this that I've been streaming. Not counting the ones I've abandoned, because I know there was at least one game that I abandoned. But no, the reason why I'm not going back to Stickbug, which was the one that I was going to focus on, is because that was one hell of an ordeal. Last time I streamed it, to the point where that's actually kind of got me wary about trying it again. I've been playing a lot of it off stream, where I've been playing as this character I made called Cinder, and that is one where I'm just going to fully fall in with the United Cities. So I figure a counterpoint to that, and this is something I already did off stream, but I wanted to restart that particular game anyway, so I may as well stream it, is I am going to start a character that I am going to side with the Holy Nation with. And this is funny, because practically every other game in this I've played, while I haven't always gotten into conflict with them, in most of them, I'm going to end up going to war with the Holy Nation anyway. So this is going to be a rare instance where I side with them. So I think there's only one start that basically starts you off as a Holy Nation person, and that is, see, so even the extra ones that have been added don't let you start there. I mean, this is you're a traitor of the Holy Nation. I suppose I could do this one. So this starts you as a Holy Paladin, so I think it gives you all the gear you need, but nah, you know I can't do that. We need to start ourselves from the bottom and work our way up. Although I need to see where that is. Okay, so Empire Citizen is where I started with Cinder. Holy Nation Citizen, that's it. A simple citizen of the Holy Nation, you live in relative safety as long as you show obeisance to Okran and his priests. The world outside is said to be barbaric and violent and full of monstrosities, but you decide to venture out and decide for yourself. Now, I'm not going to fully fall in line with the Holy Nation doctrines, but I am going to go to war with the United Cities and probably eventually the Czech Kingdom. I am going to attempt to... See, because the fun thing about the game is that if you build your reputation with certain factions, their restrictions no longer apply to you. So I could theoretically fully ally myself with the Holy Nation if I raise my rep with them enough, and they won't give a good goddamn if I have prosthetics, if I have skeletons with me. And I'm going to start off playing as a human male anyway, so that's going to smooth over a lot of the problems they have, as long as nobody loses a limb before I'm ready. So anyway, I've already got a character in mind for this, again, because I've already kind of attempted to do this run once, so I just wanted to redo it. Because, as I always do when I play this game, I started by trying to build a settlement too fast. Now, it's a lot easier to do it in Holy Nation territory, because there's not as many big threats, but it's a lot harder to organize yourself if you don't have enough tech researched. So, we are going to play as Vorbis, who is a Scorchlander. The one I had that was going to be fully United Cities thing, she is also a Scorchlander. So, I don't know, I just felt like that was a good way to counterbalance things. See something. Oh yeah, you have to play as a human. You cannot start as anything else other than a human. Here. Okay, one thing I did notice, I also find it hilarious that I decided to pick Scorchlander, despite the fact it does say they don't tend to get along well with the rules, regulations, and religions. Maybe that's the reason why he's going to be a slightly reformist Okranite. One thing I did notice is that he's actually surprisingly short compared to everybody else, and on the one hand, maybe that's a good thing, but I think I'm going to make him a little bit taller. I just need to see where the height is again. Ah, there we go. Yeah, let's put him at 100. That's basically average height. He is pretty buff, and he's going to get buffer, because I think I'm going to make him like a main armor crafting thing. So that's the thing, that's kind of the boring thing about this particular playthrough I'm going to do with this. Because it's going to go basically the same way I usually do, which is I'm just going to start small by mining to gain money, and then just start crafting and shit. Except I'm probably going to try to throw myself into the thick of things a bit quicker than normal. And I think I might legitimately... Oh, I seem to be losing bitrate like a motherfucker for some reason. Why is that? Oh, it's popping back. For some reason, I say, we're in the midst of a rainstorm. That's probably why. So, Lord knows how much of this is even going to work. But anyway, like I was saying, what's going to end up happening here is I think I am going to... Unless something really fucky happens that is beyond my control, I'm probably going to try to not reload that much if things go sideways, like they did multiple times when I was playing with Stickbug. So if that's the case, then someone dies, that's it, they're down. The only exception I might make is Vorbis himself. I might make it so that he doesn't die, at least not too quickly. So, yeah, let's begin. Also, I've named him Vorbis for a reason. If you know where the name comes from, then I owe you a Coke. They started me off with a copy of the Holy Flame, so that's good. And they also started me in Bad Teeth, which isn't a terrible town, but I don't think I want to start here. Oh, well, a bunch of river raptors have already been killed. Well, let's have a little gander about and see what's around me. Not a whole hell of a lot, I think. Well, if I really wanted to, I could make a brief living here in Bad Teeth by just hauling water, because that well is automatically drawing water, but no one's going to pick it up. So I can just pick that up, sell it, and move on. There's another town nearby called Stack that's actually much better. So I might head on over yonder first. Stack is over here somewhere in Okran's Gulf, which is slightly more dangerous than Okran's Pride, but also, you knows we gotta get an initial shot of the guy before we begin. And what better way to do this than to get our Lord and Savior, the Holy Lord Phoenix in it? Excellent. Okay. Yeah, because I don't even think there's really much in the way of buildings for sale in Bad Teeth, while there's a couple of good ones in Stack. I do love that we just straight up have a temple in here. You know, for all you yonder holy men. So, if I remember correctly, this straight up begins you with decent relations with the Holy Nation. A good way to carry on improving relations is to turn in bounties, but I don't know if there's as many... Because there's so many that you can turn into the United Cities, especially if you start up in the Great Desert, because you can turn in Rebel Farmer bounties, Sand Ninja bounties. I don't know if there's too many people wandering around here other than actual named... other than actual named bounties that you can turn in. Like, I know one of the several places I can turn in the Dust King is to these guys, and that'll give me a fairly big reputation boost, so I think maybe that's the big thing that I need to do. Yeah, lugging around water probably isn't going to be a good way to make money. However, a barrow's right here, so let's sell a bunch of these water jugs until I can... You have a copy of the Holy Flame, brother? Blessings upon you, brother! Brother! Scripture of Radiance. Fried fish. I think something I should do is actually start getting some of these books and find a place to stow them when I actually get myself a house and stuff. Go whole hog into things. Yeah, so they need the Red Bandit. Ugly as a gutter and friggin' huge, wanted for arson, robbery, and extortion. Now thought to be wreaking cruelties on lost travelers of the swamps as leader of the Red Saber, skilled and dangerous. Sand Ninja Oni. Okay, so I can probably bring in the Sand Ninja here as well, but the Sand Ninjas usually don't hang out here. The Butcher of Black Scratch. Lock your doors. Protect your loved ones. Beware the Butcher. Wanted for the murder and mutilation of multiple citizens, also known as the Black Scratch Massacre. Description and whereabouts unknown. Update. Please bring all suspects to the police for interrogation. Any person found of execution by their own judgment will face punishment of murder? What does that mean? I can't parse what that means. Also, that right there is blood rum, which is, I thought that was illegal here. Or maybe that's just illegal in the United Cities. I can't say for certain. So, yeah, there's that. Just gonna hang out here and let that fill up with a bit more water so I can run back and forth. So at the very least, I'd like to, you know, make enough money to buy myself some food for my travels. I need to mute the mic for a moment. One sec, folks. Okay, and back. It's been standing next to a well, staring at it, watching it do its thing. Apparently a wolf den got wiped out while I was at it. Yeah, let's just have a little run back and forth and sell some water. I see there's a couple of recruits here. I don't think I want to hire anybody on until I get a decent amount of money, because I just simply do not have the means to feed more than myself at the moment. I do like that I get a little bit of a bonus to selling water here. I think two of the recruits that are in here aren't necessarily unique, but every time I've rove through not the Holy Nation territory, I've seen them. One guy I can see here is definitely so. And I know I can't hire him yet because I need 9,000 cats to hire him, I think. I'll just have to keep in mind they're here. Because the other thing is, if I operate mostly in Holy Nation territory, there's not too many people I can recruit. There aren't very many recruitable people around. Because the only non-humans you see in this territory are anyone who happen to be with you. On very rare occasion, you can see some roving through. Oh, hello Baked, welcome back to the stream. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Okay, so let's just buy a couple of pieces of dried meat and go on a trek. Yeah, because we have Foo, Streak, and Griffin. Yeah, I think these two had different names when I played once. I think she was named Ice, and I can't remember what that one was called. But they're like relatively standard recruits that just sometimes have unique names. Griffin, on the other hand, is one of the truly unique recruits. He's something of a weird prophet, if I remember correctly. But I'm not going to be hiring him right now. Or anyone for that matter. So Stack is a better town to start in, which is over here somewhere, so let's just dodge over there. So I'm mainly going to be sticking with human recruits, especially for now. However, at some point, see, because no matter what I'm doing, I usually have 2 NPCs that I need to recruit. I'm sure those two are fine. Blessings upon you, brother. Ah. One of those is, of course, our beloved Beep. The other one is Ruka. And that's going to be interesting to have two of them with me. They might be the only non-humans I have for a long while, if not permanently. Because what I'm going to do is eventually I am going to, of course, fully ally with the Holy Nation and go to war with their enemies. But I don't want to do that too soon. Because if I do that, I'm going to... Because there are certain... What's the word I'm looking for here? There's certain blueprints that I can only really get in certain areas. Now, I think some of the harder to reach areas can... Because the other thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to mostly outfit my squad as if they were members of the Holy Nation military. Which means I'm actually going to be pretty lacking in defense in certain areas, because most of them just wear these pants. So I'm not going to have proper leg armor. Which will be real fun if I end up losing limbs, because again, prosthetics, not great. Which means I need to be careful about upgrading my toughness and such. I'm going to give myself some leeway with the shirts, because I'm probably going to be using the shirts to supplement the armor. In terms of armor, there's really only two main armor sets. There's the monk's robes, and then there's the holy plate. The holy plate, I think... Typically you can't actually get a blueprint for it, but I have added a mod that lets me find a blueprint. I can also just buy them, but, you know I like making my own shit. I like how I'm just swimming here now. Didn't even bother to take the road. It's okay. Increasing his swim skill is great. Let's just speed this along, shall we? Also, I don't know why he was swimming directly into a cliff face. I guess he just decided he needed the exercise. Now, one problem with settling in the Holy Nation territory is that, because I think I had a rather large area here somewhere. The problem with that is there's not a lot of copper in Okran's Valley, Okran's Pride, or Okran's Gulf. Want to fight unless we have to. We just want food. There's no need for violence. Let's talk about this. You don't even know what hunger does to you, what it feels like, what it drives you to. I don't want to fight you, but more than that, more than I don't want to fight, I want to live another day. Put your sword away, I can help you. Great, that'll give me half a chew stick. But it's better than a broken rib, at least. I think I might attempt myself to be a good Okranite boy, except, not with all the prejudice and stuff. I'm going to try to avoid fights as much as I can. Until I really start going to war with certain people. It's inevitable that I'm going to have to start fighting the starving bandits, though, because not all of them are going to be as, what's the word I'm looking for here? Open to parley as he was. Dust bandits are right out. Them I just need to fight one way or another. And honestly, they're the best way to train my toughness and combat skills without getting myself completely destroyed. I have a plan for that. So here we are, the glorious city of Stek, which is honestly a pretty damn good city, because it also has a well, in case I need some extra water. But the thing that makes Stek unique, and let's see if I can find it. Well, we've got some decent quality copper nodes just outside of town. However, there is also, within town itself, at least I thought there was, mistaken? Could be wrong. See, I thought for certain there was a copper mine within the city limits. Like I said, it's not much odds because there's some copper outside, so that's probably fine. There probably is one here, I just don't see it right now. I could have sworn. Well, that actually takes away one of the largest advantages of this city. Because I thought for certain there was one in here somewhere. There might very well be. Just didn't see it. But there's one right there, so that's fine. There's also one right there. There's a few copper resources out that way too, and alright, whatever. I'm not going to spend too much time gazing around to see if I can find that. Let's send them out to start mining the one that's nearest. So you see, the really funny thing, is that I'm going to be basically, weirdly, which is very strange for this game to a certain degree, is I'm going to begin by just straight up making an honest living in one of the most relatively peaceful areas of the game. I'm going to be basically starting off by making my money with industry. Because, I mean, obviously there's the whole mining thing that you always do in this game. The only problem is, of course, that Scorched Landers do not gain much in the way of experience for laboring. But the other funny/fun/strange thing about Holy Nation territory is that they have a number of honest-to-God farms kicking around. You don't see this, really, that much in any other territory. But one of the biggest advantages to this area of the map is that it's incredibly abundant in terms of food. So these farms, they have several crops. The fun thing is, you can just go straight up and work those farm plots and take the crops and just sell them back to the people that are there, and it's not considered like stealing. So I can basically go to work as a hired hand in one of these farms, and then I gain farming experience, I can sell the crops, I can use them to start my own farms, so that's actually, you know, pretty good. Now, our boy Vorbis here, I'm just going to have him carry on mining, but once I hire somebody else on to join me, I'm probably going to send them down to one of these farms, and they'll do that. And eventually, when I have enough money that I can start, you know, living in town here, I'll start doing some of my research, and then I'll send people out as expeditions to, you know, gain some combat experience so I can get to the real meat and potatoes, which is eventually going to war with both Czech Kingdom and the United Cities. And of course dealing with whatever bandits and stuff that are all. So I'd say the best thing to do would be to... I'm just going to do completely a start from the ground up kind of thing. And I am going to buy a couple of the wrecked buildings that are in town and build them up again. I know at the very least we have a small shack here and we've got a longhouse there. I can't recall what else we have here that's for sale. Now, I have a mod that allows me to just straight up buy any building in town I want. I am not going to avail myself too much of that, because that's a good way to break certain things in the game. So I honestly think... yeah, the only residential buildings are small shacks in that destroyed longhouse. Anyway, I'm just going to have Vorbis do some mining until eventually either that fills out or he runs out of food. And I'll see if I can find somebody else to join my merry band. Which I should name, come to think of it. Well, I don't know about what to call the squad, but I have a perfect stupid name for the faction itself. Okran's Razor. Because, you know, it's a terrible pun. As with most games of Kenshi, this is going to start relatively slow. I'm hoping once I get more bodies to do some more work, it'll pick up. You know, while we're waiting for Vorbis to do that, though, I'm going to have a quick look to see if I can actually see where the copper node is in stack, because I thought for certain there was one just here in town. Look at him. There's a fight going on over there, though. What's going on? Close enough to see. Okay, it was just a bunch of hungry people fighting a bomb. No big deal. Alright, so let's have a little looky-loo. Of course, when I just type in Kenshi stack copper, it's just telling me how to stack copper ore. It's the silly thing about the way certain towns are named in this game. Yeah, there was supposed to be a copper... I don't see it. Actually, you know what? try one more thing, one more search thing to look at. Okay, so it is within the town itself. It's apparently a bit to the north and the left side. It is kind of in a very cliff area. So it's in here somewhere. It's up here? I mean, not that it really matters. It's not like the one I'm working on is that far away once I get more people rolling. Also, as always, despite the fact that the Holy Nation does practice itty-bitty slavery themselves, I am probably going to keep getting into rackets with slavers. Because fuck those guys. It's probably good enough to be getting on with. Let's run in, sell this stuff off, and see if I can find the node inside town. Or on somebody else, I'll probably send them on it to do some farming. There's a couple of places I can do that at. There's a farm here, and I know there's another farm here. So I don't know. Well, this one is a straight shot up the road, so maybe that's a good one. Well, what I can do is I can just send somebody to both. If I end up getting 2 more people. And I make a little bit of a profit off. Well, I mean, it's all a profit because I'm just working on it. But I make a little bit of a profit off it on account of there's a little bit of a decent price markup on the go there. Okay, so I'm legitimately just going to see now if I can figure out where the hell this thing is. Okay, so they're talking about this. So above that we have this station house, yes, which is that area. Go around the station house to the right and you will go around a small shack with a generator. That's probably that one right there. Yeah, that's the power station. So the copper node is up here behind that, apparently. Is it back here? Oh, that's it right there. I think. Okay, so that, I think that technically counts within the city limits. I thought there was one smack within the walls, but this is good too. It's nice and hidden. Alright, so let's mine a little bit more and see if I've got enough money to hire somebody else on if there's anybody in the bar. And actually, this is pretty good, because if I know that I can get a pile of copper within stack like this, then I don't even need to have some in a base I set up. Because I can just mine all the copper here and then either process it into what I need, usually electrical components, and then ship it to my town, or, yeah, just ship the copper itself, either way. So that's some good shit. That is some good shit. I think I'm just going to label this work squad for now. Because again, this is largely what... So this is going to be a fairly boring short stream of Kenshi, because I'm largely just going to be doing labor. But hey, you know, I'm a good, good Okranite boy. I have to make an honest living. Like how every now and then I slip into a little bit of Laszlo. I don't do it intentionally, I swear. Because I'm a good Okranite boy. They're killing over there. Bone dog. Yeah, they beat up some slave mongers. I'm not too concerned about that. Eventually I'm going to start fighting them myself. Right, so bakeries and bars usually have recruits in them. I think there's 2 bars here. Love and devotion, brother. So we've got a recruit here in the form of Sao, who actually, I believe, last time I attempted to do a run as an Okranite. She was one of my first recruits. Yes? You're looking for work? I need recruits. Yes, I charge 3,000 cats. Will we be leaving the city? I need more cats. Excuse me, I need to go to the adoption agency and get more cats for you. Do you have a particular type? Long hair? Short hair? Sometimes people hang out, but it appears like there's not one. There is another bar, though, so let's see if there's anybody else in there. There's a bunch of thieves in here. Looks like Sao might be the only person I can recruit in stack. alright. She'll do for now. So yeah, I think the best thing to do is to have Vorbis focus on farming. Vorbis focus on just mining. And once I get her recruited, she can run on over. She can start practicing farming. Because if I can train up enough people to, like, have really high farming skills before I even begin building a settlement, I am going to be very well stocked for. There is one... The major problem you have in this area of the game, though, are these creatures called river raptors. Because they will, once you start developing a decent-sized farming operation, they're going to start raiding and eating your crops. And if you're not terribly well equipped or skilled, they can actually wreck your shit. They're not terribly strong creatures, but they often rove in decently large packs, and it is not good. They can fuck you up a lot faster than you would assume. Work them muscles. Get that copper. Now, of course, the only problem is this is the Holy Nation, and Sao is a woman, so if I send her around on her own, there's always a chance she might end up getting into shit because of it, but... as long as I don't do anything deliberately to piss anybody off, I think she's fine. It's not like she's going to be, oh, I don't know, a Czech or something running around. I also like how most of the game starts, you're like, you basically have, or at least most of the standard game starts, you have hardly anything in terms of equipment. At least in this case, I'm decently clothed. Most of this is not going to do anything to stop any damage, but, you know, it's better than nothing. Anyway, there's no sense in hiring on Sao until... actually, no, I may as well hire her on, because then I can send her down here and help him mine some copper. She was over there, wasn't she? Because I'm going to want to buy a backpack of some sort to equip her with. It's going to be a lot easier for her to transport crops that way. Because I think you can sell the crops at the farms as well, but they usually don't have much money. I do like that they keep calling me brother, though. Just keep picturing it's either like Liquid Snake or Hulk Hogan or something. Ah! Still don't have enough money. I almost have enough money. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to try to get as many people as I can. Just so I can get the ball rolling. I'm going to want at least 3. So I think what I'll do is I'll have her basically live at one of the farms for a while. And once I build up enough money, I'll send Vorbis back either over to over to Bad Teeth. Or up to Blister Hill and see who else he can find. Okay, that right there is good enough. Just the one piece of copper is going to be enough to hire her on. And then we can increase our production efficiency. Holy brother, did you want something? You dare speak to me, Temptress? The nerve! No, we're not going to be a dick. Are you here for work? I'm looking for recruits. You're recruiting? Sure, I'm available. My fee is 3,000 cats. Welcome aboard. So! Yeah, see, because I'm definitely going to want at least one more person who can do research once I actually get a place set up to do, you know, use a research bench or, you know, build one. So at the very least, I don't think I'm pretty sure these are the only two buildings I can buy here, maybe? I don't know, let's have a look. Because again, I could theoretically buy out the whole damn place, but if I do that, I'm going to completely screw up the town's economy. Interesting, this tells me that there's only 2 small shacks that are collapsed for sale, and there's 2 small shacks that are fine for sale. But that's clearly a destroyed longhouse that I can buy. And I don't see where the other collapsed small shack is. Okay, yeah, this is the place I need to go to buy a backpack. See, I'm probably better off just buying the trader's wooden backpack. Because the scavenger's basket would also work. But doesn't reduce the encumbrance as much, and I feel like this is going to allow me to stack things better. Actually, yes, because I don't think the scavenger's backpack actually allows me to stack things. Haha, stack. Ironic, considering where I am. So yeah, let's get that instead. It's gonna fuck up her combat values, but that's fine. In the long run, that's actually going to make her combat values raise faster, because the harder it is for you to do something in this game, the more likely you're going to gain experience doing it. Anyway, let's have her help Vorbis mine a little bit longer, make some more money at that before she heads off to a farm. Oh, you don't know what happened to Sao? She moved upstate to a farm. Like all those old pets we had that we never saw again. You know, that like that old euphemism. So let's let them do this for another couple hours. That'll give her enough time to get some more copper to sell. And I'm doing that largely so she can get some food and bandages for herself. Oh, that reminds me. Medic and rescue. Always have that selected. Having your people automatically try to heal each other is very, very good. Now let's get one more in that backpack there and send her along. Alright. So food and bandages. Honestly, it probably wouldn't hurt to get Vorbis to buy one too. A backpack, I mean. I think I might have Sao go over and buy him one now, for that matter. Because I can buy some bandages from this place anyway, and hey, I can give him one of the scavenger's backpacks. It's not as efficient as the one she has, but it'll be good enough to get some extra copper out of that vein. Bandages for herself, and yeah, I don't think I need the sleeping bag explicitly. I think I will buy the wooden sandals, though, because that way she's going to be able to run a bit faster. And rather to go to... Geez, I simply can't speak today, can I? Rather than have her go to that farm, I think I'm going to have her run straight up to the road to the one I know that's there. So, time for you to go on a journey. Double time at that. Now the other good thing too is I can have her still, I see, because Okran's Pride is one of the most beautiful areas in the game. I mean, look at this lush valley we got going on here. It's just if you're not in good with the Holy Nation, it's basically a giant no-go zone. Especially if you have a skeleton in the party. Needless to say, they're not fans. Yes, the farm there. Interestingly, I do believe there's a copper node not far from here as well. Yeah, there's one right there. It's very poor. There's not really a lot of copper in this area, but if nothing else, when she's not farming, I can send her down there. Yeah, so they've got cotton, they've got wheat. Mostly just cotton and wheat. That's largely what they grow here. Now, the other fun thing, too, which is not something I'm going to have to worry about just yet. Wait a minute, is that a pile of bone dogs? Oh shit. I may have gotten here just as things got worse. Fellas, you know that we're safe in this city. The Holy Lord Phoenix himself protects us here. Guys, your animals are getting slaughtered. You know that, right? I might actually be safer not attacking them. Yeah, I'll just let them go, and I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to get some medic training in. Because I am actually going to want to, at the very least, get one of these animals, probably a bull, just so I can use that to transport some more stuff. The other great thing about this area is that it does rain fairly frequently, so you don't even need to water the crops that much. You guys really should take care of your animals a bit better. See, we have from some visiting paladins who are doing that, come to think of it. Good for them. Okay, it looks like they've actually legitimately filled up the rest of them. Admittedly, their first aid skills are probably much better than mine. Alright, so Sao, it is time to... And when one of these are in use, also have her work on that, well, just so we can get some extra water in here. Okay, so these river raptors are attempting to eat the crops. Get some turret training in while I'm at it, I guess. Wait a minute. There's so many of them. I like how I'm getting more combat training out here than I thought I would. Where are the paladins who were just here? I also love that the animals are not helping, and nor are the nomads. I mean, the nomads probably don't give a shit, let's be real. I think it might be best to just let them do their thing. And then eventually they'll just leave and I can get back at it. I got some weed out of it at least. My only concern is, I wonder if the raptors have just killed everybody here. Once Sal's back on her feet, I'm gonna have to get her to heal herself and see if she can do anything to help everybody else here. Except the real problem here is, just like that, I'm out of... These guys don't even have good meat. Or come over here. Say, I'm just going to try to help them with the farm, and I believe one of them is now going to end up dead because of my quote-unquote help. The nomads are doing jack shit to help. Anyway, she's gonna have to run all the way back to stack, because I need to, Well, I'll have her run back to stack so she can stock up on bandages and shit. And, we're just gonna have to see what's left of this place when she comes back. course, if I'm really unlucky, she's going to run into a pack of bone dogs on the way back, but we'll see what happens. Of course, the other problem is, well, by the time she gets back, things are going to be closer to open. I say that, she's really hauling ass down that road. Yeah, I believe I pretty well just need to buy as many bandages as I can. Well, I may have gotten everybody in that farm killed. So that's a whoops. Oh, her arm just got bad enough that she can't mine. That's cool. Well, I've got some money I can spend on a bed so she can heal up. Oh, her fucked up. Huh, how about that? She's healing pretty quick, though, so that's good. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna let her rest until she's fully healed. I think I will send Vorps in, though, to see. So how much is that ruined shack? 1,500 cats. I'm definitely going to be able to buy that from down here. Looking for something? Now, the other thing I need to watch out for, especially when I start really getting heavy into research, is that, ancient science books, which you really need to advance, are also illegal. I'm still going to use them, I just need to be really careful about it. So let's send Vorbis in to buy some food for himself, and he can carry on mining. I mean to send you over there. You want her to get up. Because she's going to buy herself some more bandages and get back on the road. See what's left of that farm now. Go back. Maybe not a hell of a lot. Oh wait, yeah, screw it. Let's buy as many bandages as I can, because I'm probably going to need them. Once I get a workbench, a research bench started, I'm gonna have to send them over to either Bad Teeth or Blister Hill. I'm gonna need to recruit somebody else because I want to get research going as soon as I can. So I can start the old armor crafting to make money loop. And honestly, I can even build a fabric loom. Once I get the larger building bought. Or hell, I can even get a fairly decent armor smithing operation going in one of the small shacks as well when I start off with cloth and such. Alright, so hey, is anyone still alive over here? Well, the farmer's wife that was there is gone. That means either she died and the body despawned, or somebody came along and healed her. Let's go in and see, shall we? I think everyone's dead. Yep. Everyone's dead. Okay. No one is left. Cool. Well, I guess this farm is essentially mine now, then. Maybe they'll respawn one day. They may not, but maybe they will. Well, this farm is functionally mine. The only problem is I can't sell or buy anything at the farm shop. Which sucks because all the animals seem to be gone now too, so either they were also attacked and killed, or they just all wandered on. So, yeah, maybe because the other farm is over here, right there. Maybe I'm better off not spending too much time there in case the same thing happens, because I'm going to want to buy some animals and such from that. So I think any recruit I have that I want to increase their farming and laboring skill, just send them down here. So, boy, let's get you to... research bench. Can't remember if it's just building materials or if I need iron parts for it. Building materials, 3. Go ahead and do that now, I think. 2, 3. You don't need to look pretty. As soon as I max out the amount of research I can do with this bench, I'm just going to dismantle it anyway. So, let's see if I can find somebody else to do the research. Let's see if you can make it all the way up to Blister Hill without getting accosted by anybody. Let's go check that place out. That's the capital. That is where Holy Lord Phoenix resides. I'm legitimately kind of sad that everybody died. Oh well. Again, maybe this place will repopulate after a while if I get away from it for a bit, but I do plan on spending a bit of time. So, yeah, that might not end up being the case. There's a little shrine over. See, I have to see if there's a mod that allows me to build these statues, because I don't think you can within the game itself. Because I mean, when I build a town of my own, if I want to be the whole hog Okranite, I'm gonna need a bunch of statues. Bye, so. Oh, there's a military base up there. I don't know if I've ever realized that's there. Oh, there's some nomad animal traders. I probably don't have anywhere near enough money for a bull, do I? Let's see. Oh there, Tony. I have animals for sale. Carry stuff for you, fight alongside you, make a good meal, they do. Yeah, I don't have enough money for any of the bulls. I don't really have enough money for anything at the moment. Thank you, but I shall pass at the moment. You know, the really funny thing is, seeing as how everyone is dead, I could theoretically just buy this place now. Because, I mean, again, I have the mod that just lets me buy things. The only problem is I can't build anything outside now because of this, but I can just buy this place. I may consider it, you know? I don't know, I may legitimately consider buying that house so I can just use it for my own purposes. Because that way I just got a means that I can store crops and various things, and I can even set up like a basic armor smithy here. Because I've got plenty of cotton that I could turn into fabric. I don't know, I'll think about it. You know, it occurred to me that I did send Vorbis out specifically because I wanted to see if I could recruit anybody new. I hardly have enough cats to do that. Now, in my experience, you don't find very many recruitable people in Blister Hill. There do seem to be a number of bars, but there aren't very many people in them. Well, nothing for it but to have a quick look, I guess. Moo! There's somebody called Moo. The other funny thing I can't help but note is despite it being very male-centric, a lot of times most of the recruits I find in the Holy Nation are so. Today I saw a woman burned alive merely for looking at a priest funny. Coming here was the worst decision I ever made. The city has no place for a woman and I want out. Are you looking to hire Outlander? I'll give you a price that can't be beaten. Got any skills? A pretty good swordswoman if you need protecting. Exactly what I was looking for. What's your price? Yeah, like I said, I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to have enough money to hire any find here. She's the only one I have seen so far. How about you, Batai? You there, I will be your personal assassin for 7,500 cats. I'm bored and I fancy following a confused-looking vagabond for a change of scenery. Take advantage of this offer, vagabond. What the? Vagabond? Yes, vagabond. What is your decision? Sorry, my decision is no. I think I'd sooner hire a moo. Cow. Inu. I doubt I have enough money to hire anybody, but let's see if anyone is actually willing to go. That happens sometimes. Sometimes people are willing to join up for free. Forgive me for being so forward, brother, but you're from the Outlands, right? You're looking for recruits? I'm not really from the Outlands, though. I started here. Yeah, the standard is typically 3,000 cats. Wait, why am I labeled as a human mercenary? That's not me. So, I do not have the cats to hire anyone. However, that can be changed right quick if I find somewhere... Iron, copper, anything. Is there anything by Blister Hill? I don't. Oh, wait. Basically just so I don't have to run all the way down. Although, honestly, it might be faster for me to run all the way back down to stack, mine copper, and do that. But I guess I'll just try it this way for now. Because typically iron does not get you as much. Love and devotion, brother. Ah. Alright, so I'm going to see if I can build up at least 3,000 cats, hire Moo, maybe. Take her with me if I can still find her. It's a bunch of bone dogs. Oh yeah, because that's probably the... This is probably the nest that the crowd of bone dogs came from. That wrecked this place the first time. Can get a little bit money for iron that I typically can, it seems. I'll have him till daybreak, see how much that gets me. Honestly, it's probably not going to get me enough, though, is the thing. Some of these are getting pretty close to... Oh good, that river raptor has appeared and is eating everything. Oh, there's a number of them. But you see, the problem here is I don't know how much farming experience I'm going to get if these things keep showing up. Especially since there's nobody here to fight them off anymore. The only way I would, the only way I'd get lucky is if a paladin patrol came by. Yeah, because they're just eating everything now. Fucking river raptors. See, it's funny, last time I attempted this, I hardly ever had any of these things show up and fuck up this farm, but they've outright destroyed this one, so... At the very least, it looks like some of them are starting to leave. Yeah, they seemingly have gotten their fill. At the very least, I might be able to farm some of this cotton. Oh, but wait, here comes more. Look at them! Look at how many there are! Huddling around like they own the place. Honestly, now I'm kind of hoping a horde of bone dogs come down here, because at the very least they're going to kill these things. I may end up regretting this because this is not owned by anyone. But come on, it's just a puppy. I can't let this thing bleed to death. Okay, so I'm gonna get about 100 for each one. Say, just a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's gonna be 600. That's not enough. No, I'm just gonna have to leave him here and keep him mining that iron if somebody else. Anyway, I do legitimately need to stop soon, but I think at the very least what I want to do is get enough money to hire somebody else, get down there, and at least begin the research train. But the nomads and the river raptors have left, so it's just me again. Oh, and the unconscious bone dog puppy too, I guess. So I'm going to need roughly 17 iron ore to get enough. Money for my purposes. Oh look, and here comes more. Are they also going to start eating the crops that only barely have started growing? At the very least, they don't bother you unless you bother them. It's a funny looking skull. I've never noticed that before. Hello, Dimension Prova. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Looks like rats. If you're talking about the river raptors, then yes, rats are essentially all they're like. The little bastards. Eating all my crops. There's no reason why I'm taking a picture of this thing, I just kind of feel like it. Say you're new to Kenshi, you heard it's a difficult game. It can be. It really do. It really very much can be. Um, like any game, it is pretty easily exploited if you kind of know how the systems work. Not that I've taken a bunch of glamour not that I've taken a bunch of glamour shots of a skull. I wasn't paying attention to him and he filled that thing up. But yeah, the main thing you have to keep in mind if you're playing Kenshi is that it's very easy to overextend yourself and get yourself killed and or eaten. Quite frequently both. So playing it smart and safe is usually the best way to go about things. Most starts will have you, or like the traditional one will have you start down here in a spot called the border zone. Yeah, basically try not to fight, and try not fighting anything that will take off your limbs or eat you, is the best advice that anyone can give you at the beginning. And unless you're explicitly doing a solo run, it's always a good idea to have one of your characters stay out of combat to heal everybody else after everything's done. You like a difficult, you normally play Souls games? That's fair enough. Goddamn river raptors are eating the crops again. Okay, so I'm probably not going to get a lot of farming experience in this place, because there's just too many of these raptors kicking around. I'm going to leave Sao down here so she can, I'm presuming that's how you pronounce that. Chow? Chow. Let's say Chow. The fact that I keep calling her Sao makes it sound like I'm saying she's a pig. So Chow. Let's say Chow. Seeing she's not going to get any sort of farming experience whatsoever in this place because these sons of bitches keep eating the crops. I might actually be better off going over to the other farm because I think that one is a bit more better defended. But we'll leave her here for now. Also, this is, in the vanilla game, the best way to train strength is just fill a backpack full of iron and run around everywhere. But the thing I've always found interesting about this game is that there's so many ways you can play it. I mean, you could essentially play it like a low-grade farming sim if you want. It's not very detailed, but you can do just... you could just build a farm. And just focus on protecting your crops and selling them. Or you can be a traveling merchant, or you can be a bunch of bounty hunters. My eventual plan with this particular playthrough is I'm going to join the Holy Nation and go to war with the United Cities. There's just so many different ways you can kind of go about things. Okay. I think I'm actually going to have her run over to the other farm and see if I can actually do some more farming over there. Some actual farming over there. Because these things are just eating all the crops, and there's nobody here to defend them anymore. largely because I hung out here and let the farmers get eaten by river raptors. Well, not eaten. They're not cannibals. Well, carnivorous, I think is the way I should put it. They'd only be cannibals if they ate other river raptors. Look at Vorbis be incredibly over-encumbered. So it means his strength is going to increase a little by the time he gets into town. Now, of course, for whatever reason, Scorchlanders take a bit longer to increase in strength than most everybody else. Greenlanders like Shao here, they're a bit more all-rounder, so. She's probably going to get to her destination before he does, so. And that's a lie. He's actually going to get there first, I think. To uphold the sanctitude of our sanctified society, that's a lot of sanctity, you must surrender your possessions for inquest, brother. Blessed cities will not tolerate the passage of items of corruption. Yes, I understand. Is it so necessary to check your brother of pure blood? Evil manifests itself in all forms. To rely and be fooled by the senses over Okran's judgment is the most ignorant of blunders. Submit yourself, only then can you prove your innocence in the eyes of the Lord of Light. Probably didn't need to swim. Hey, there's Moo. Just enough money to hire her. Sure, even breathing in this town is a sin when you're a woman. Hooray! And she actually has some stats. Like, not great stats, but like most recruits have none. She actually has some beginner attack stuff, so that's good. Stack can carry on with his copper mining shenanigans, and we'll get Moo doing some research. And then after that, I should probably stop. I do have to work more. All heretics will burn in the flame of the Lord Okran. Okay. Alright, see, this place is slightly better defended. I hope. At the very least, these guys are actually trying to farm, whereas the others did not. So let's help them out, shall we? Also, I don't know if I actually finished my little explanation about some of the differences between the United Cities and the Holy Nation. One interesting thing about the Holy Nation, I'm pretty sure this is the case. While I don't think you're going to see any of the crops actually growing in Holy Nation territory, hemp is kind of a touchy thing, because hemp, of course, can be used to make hashish, and hashish is illegal in most of the major societies in this game world. Hemp itself is illegal in some areas too. Specifically, I think hemp is definitely illegal in the United Cities. You can't even grow the stuff. You should be operating the well, shouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, you can't even grow the stuff in the United Cities. However, you can grow hemp in the Holy Nation. You just can't use it to make drugs. They're perfectly fine with you using it to make medicinal products or clothing, because it's a lot more cost effective to turn hemp into fabric than it is cotton. Oh, do I play with mods or without? I started playing this without mods, but there are certain mods that are actually fairly useful to have. I can't remember all of them I have here, but I've got one that's tweaked the animations a little bit. It actually makes martial arts a little bit less janky in the early levels. Some of it's just cosmetic. Like, the map is a lot more detailed and actually shows you the roads with a mod that I currently have installed. So I do have mods installed, I just usually don't get anything that really fudges with the way the game works. Oh wait, that's actually why she's not trying to operate the well. Somebody's already doing that. That makes sense. Dark creatures, they'll bring famine to us all. Oh, god damn it. A walking nightmare. Somebody save the crops. What's with all the blood? Oh, I think they're on the turrets fighting back. Okay, that's good. Goddamn river raptors, I swear. At least these guys seem to be slightly better at defending their crops. I can't remember if I actually said it, but yes, welcome back, Rolls. Hopefully you had a good trip to the airport. Also heal this guy, shouldn't I? It's not going to do me any good if they all end up dead. Especially the headman. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get much farming done, but at the very least, they seem to be protecting this place a bit better, don't they? And the river raptors do not seem to be as aggressive for some reason. Like, they're not even really trying to kill these guys. Ah, there's a team of paladins and monks on their way too, which is nice. Holy servants. They're not monks. River raptors don't really give up a lot of leather, but they do give up enough that I should be able to get some decent leather crafting on the go when I... Okay, there we go. She's able to get some farming over. Perfect. Want to fight unless we have to. We just want food. There's no need for violence. Let's talk about this. Sort of way I can help you. No, I need to be good and charitable. Let's give him most of the money I just made. Thank you, friend. I wonder, has that actually increased my standing with that particular group? Because it'd be nice if I don't have to kill all the hungry although, they're also the best way to do training early on. Okay. I guess we'll see, won't we? Now, the unfortunate thing is the fact that I did that means there goes all the money I was going to use to buy research books. Look, more goddamn river raptors. Okran hates deceivers and skeletons and science too. Don't forget science. Ironic, considering I'm actually trying to gear up so I can start doing some research of my own. I may as well help them fight this thing. There's only one of them. Yeah, these guys are much better at defending their farm than those other guys were. Maybe that's why the other guys are dead. Oh, the cotton is ready. Good. Nobody else wants to farm that cotton? Alright. Got enough money that I could begin doing some research. So let's get some of that queued up before I stop playing for the night. Pretty decent start. Nothing terribly exciting has happened. Well, I say. What's going on? Okay, weird. I say nothing terribly exciting has happened. I accidentally caused a farm to get wiped off the map. Research. Yeah, I'll just spend as much money as I can on research. So let's get to it. So I'm definitely going to want to begin learning how to make clothes. And do some basic weapon smithing as well. Oh look, they finally decided to join me. How good of them. You mean to tell me you guys kept trying to farm this thing when it was full? What's wrong with you? Yeah, the head man of this farm is probably going to run out of cats pretty quick, so I'm going to have to run down to Bad Teeth to sell off the rest of them, which is good, because I can also probably hire somebody new at that point. So many people. Headman's still up there at the turret, though, so that's good. Sell him as much of this stuff as I can. He's out of money. Alright, let's start her running down to Bad Teeth. I want to research indoor life too. Let's have her run over and grab one of those books before the shop closes then. Perfect. So, yeah. I'll want to get a clothing bench in here, probably also a food store so I can stockpile food and the two of them can just go eat whenever they need it. And, Sao is on her way. Xiao, I suppose is how I pronounce it, maybe. She's on her way down to sell some of that cotton down in Bad Teeth and hire on some new help. She's gonna get herself a hell of a lot of strength, though, considering she's loaded down with a shitload of copper. I need to, once I get enough money for it, I'm probably going to buy a bull off of the farm and use that to transport goods and shit. Anyway, I have played this for much longer than I probably should have, for it is getting late, so let us make a new save. Actually, no. Rather than name it after the character, I'm just going to call it the group. There. So that will do for that for tonight. So, if you happen to stop by to watch, I thank you very much for doing so, and hopefully you found folks to join me again next time, where I will I swear I won't be, I won't be playing more Kenshi again. I'm going to actually, you know, get back to, or begin something that actually can be finished. What that's going to be, I don't know, but we'll see. So until then, as always, I wish you a farewell, and I hope you have a great night. So long for